This is lesson 4-7, percents and decimals. The graph shows students' favorite school uniform colors. Write the percent of students who chose black as a fraction. In the example, it says 36%. Percent means per 100. As a decimal, that would then be 0.36. Knowing place value, and that you write 36 hundredths like that. What do you notice about the percent and the decimal form? Well, the percent form and the decimal form both have some version of 36 in them. 8% can be written as a fraction with the percent as the numerator. There's our percent as the numerator, and 100 as the denominator, because percent means per 100. Use this fact to help write percents as decimals. 7% as a decimal. 7% means 7 out of 100, using place value 0.07. The 7 being in the hundreds place. The percent symbol means to divide by 100. In other words, this is also a numerical expression, meaning 7 divided by 100. So if we want to skip the fraction step, we can simply divide 7 by 100, which means moving our decimal point 2 places. Actually, it's 2 places to the left. 2 places to the left. So 7% becomes 0.07, or 7 hundredths. So let's do 8% as a fraction, and then as a decimal, 0.08, representing 8 hundredths. 54%, we're going to do that one by just taking 54 and dividing it by 100. Writing it like so, which gives us the result 0.54, 54 out of 100. Example C, 85.2%. We're going to divide that 85.2, divide that by 100, so we don't have to worry about that decimal point. And our result then is 0.852. 85.2% as a decimal. Alaska is the largest state, making up 16 1/10% of the land area of the United States. Write this amount as a decimal. Okay, 16 1/10%, I'm going to write as 16.1. You can see that right here. That's what they've done. Remove the decimal symbol and divide by 100, which means move my decimal point 2 places to the left. So 16 1/10% as a decimal is 0.161. Example D. 6 4/5% of the total area of the United States is water. What decimal does this represent? Well, a little bit of an additional step here. I have to change 4/5 to 80 over 100. Or 8 over 10, I guess I could do that, which then would write as a decimal 6.8. Then dividing by 100 means moving my decimal point 2 places to the right, 0.068 as a decimal. The total area of Australia is about 38 11/20% of the total area of North America. Write this as a decimal. 38 11/20. Again, I'm going to have to write my fraction with a denominator that's a multiple of 10. So in this case, I'm going to multiply numerator and denominator by 5. Gives me 55 over 100, which gives me 38.55 as a percent. And then dividing by 100 means 0.3855 as a decimal. Example number 4. Write 0.4 as a percent. Well, using place value, 0.4 is 4 over 10. To change that to a percent, I simply need to make my denominator 100. Doesn't show it here, but I'm multiplying numerator and denominator by 10, which gives me 40 over 100, which is 40%. In the next example, decimal to percent, I'm going to multiply by 100 this time instead of divide by 100, which means my decimal move is to the right this time. So 0.4 with 2 decimal moves to the right becomes 40%. So using either method, 4/10 as a decimal is 40%. 0.5 or 5/10 as a decimal becomes 5 over 10, which becomes 50 over 100, which becomes 50%. 0.34, I'm simply going to multiply by 100, move my decimal point 2 places to the right, 1, 2, because I'm multiplying by 100, gives me 34%. And finally H, 0.98 becomes 98 over 100, which becomes 98%, just using place value. 48% is a fraction in simplest form. 48% means 48 out of 100. It doesn't show it here, but 48 and 100 both have 4 as a common factor, so they've divided 48 and 100 by 4. The resulting fraction then is 12/25, which is 48 hundredths as a fraction in simplest form. 40% becomes 40 over 100, which becomes 4 over 10, which becomes 2 over 5. Divided by 10 here, divided by 2 here. The resulting fraction is 2/5. Could have divided by 20 right away, though I'm not really concerned about greatest common factor. 6% becomes 6 over 100. Divide both of those by 2, gives me 3 over 50 as a fraction. 24% becomes 24 over 100. Divide both of those by 4, gives me 6 over 25, which is my answer in simplest form. About 875 thousandths of an iceberg's mass is underwater. What percent of an iceberg's mass is underwater? Well, I'm changing my decimal to a percent. So what I'm doing is I'm multiplying by 100, which means I'm moving a decimal point 2 places to the right. So 875 thousandths becomes 87.5%. Each day Rico and his dog walk 625 thousandths of a mile. What percent of a mile do they walk? Well, again, 0.625 times 100 becomes 62.5%. Here are 2 really neat shortcuts. I've used these for years. I call them P to D and D to P. They both involve a decimal point of 2 moves to the left or 2 moves to the right, and I simply use the alphabet to remind me. If I'm going from P to D in the alphabet, P to D, I'm going from right to left, which means I move my decimal point 2 places to the left. When I'm changing a percent to a decimal, it's 2 decimal moves to the left. When I'm going from D to P in the alphabet, I'm going from left to right, which means to change a decimal to a percent, I'm moving 2 places to the right, because here I'm multiplying by 100, here I'm dividing by 100. D to P, P to D. 68% as a decimal. Well, I'm going to use my P to D. P to D means I'm going from right to left. So this becomes 1, 2, 0.68. 5%, 2 places to the left, 0.05. 27.6%. P to D, 0.26. 0.76 as a decimal. Number 4. This family spends about 33 2/5% of their annual income on housing. What decimal represents the amount spent on housing? Well, 33 2/5 becomes 33 4/10, which becomes 33.4. As a decimal, I'm going from percent to decimal, which means 2 places to the left, 0.334 as a decimal. 33 2/5% as a decimal is 0.334. Number 5, write each decimal as a percent. In number 5, 0.09 is 9 over 100, which is 9%. Number 6, 0.3 is 3 over 10, which is 30 over 100, which is 30%. 0.73 is 73 over 100, which is 73%. The table shows the top 5 WNBA players with the highest free throw averages. What percent of the time does Sue Bird make a free throw? Sue Bird, 0.878. I'm going to go D to P, which means I'm moving from left to right. My answer is 87.8%. At this point, you should stop the video. Go to my Moodle page, log in, take lesson quiz 4-7. Remember, your username is your 6-digit student number, and your password is the first 6 digits of your last name and your 2-digit